for some Sheik Puff analysis. Yeah. So, but the first thing, oh, I gotta turn this down. Gotta turn down the Dolphins volume in my mixer. Okay. So we start off the game. What do we do at game start? I like it, advanced placement. I like it. So, but the big thing right away is that when you shoot your needle stack, so on the frame that you stop charging needles, or actually when you're like about to throw, Puff is already floating in center stage. Like the needles are in no way going to hit her. All the needles are doing is they're opening you up to being just being attacked by Puff. Like in this example, she sees that you throw the needles and has time to react because of how slow the animation is, and then is able to just back air your shield for free. And it's like she also is able to set up like the max range back air, so that it's really hard to punish. Because like back air isn't that great on shield, but when Puff is able to space it really well, then it becomes really hard to punish. So you want to avoid just giving her free max range back airs on your shield. And let's look at what you did out of shield. It looks like you tried to grab Puff. You tried to grab Puff. It might have been a nair. You might have been trying to nair, but either way, I don't think a grab or a nair is really that great. After Puff back airs your shield at max range. Because if you look at the screen, you'll see that you're about a full, like a character length and a half away from Puff, which is nowhere near range of nair or grab. But what you could do, what you might consider, there's no real great option if Puff backers your shield out max range. There are just kind of like a few that get you back, especially when you're in a corner. There are just a few that get you back to somewhat neutral. Like something you might consider doing is like after Puff backers your shield, full hopping and wave landing to the platform. That might be good. You could try, if Puff is at a higher percent, you could try wave dash forward F tilt. And then you could also try just rolling out or holding shield. But it's really hard to be like aggressive against Puff after she backers your shield. But then after Puff backers your shield for the second time, you go up to the platform, which is nice because she's in the air, she's not landing, so she can't really threaten you going to the platform that much. And then you start needling her from the platform. Very nice. You needle one time too many. Because if you look at the situation, like Puff sees that, like predicts that you're going to needle, and she's in center stage, and she just rolls under you. And you really don't want to let Puff get under you at all, by any means necessary, because her up air is so strong for Shark and Sheik. And then also, of course, if you DI poorly and up air knocks you down, she can start going for, she can set up a rest punish. But you kind of get away with it, and you're able to reset to neutral after Puff, because you get shield up in time, and you're able to reset to neutral. Let's see. So you roll in. So the third backer that happens, you roll into center stage, which I think I'm fine with. I think for this backer specifically that she did, because she did a Puff to the backer where she's still in her jump after she does the backer, she's not landing from it. Something that would be worth considering would be like maybe wave dash forward up tilt or F tilt, just because she's going to be in the air, so she can't crouch you. But you roll instead, which is fine. And you take. Yeah, this matchup is weird because you don't really, as Sheik, you don't really get a ton of benefit off of Puff being in the corner. Specifically Puff being in the corner. What you get a lot of benefit from is being able to dash back, like getting access to dash back and wave dash back. Because if Puff's over here and you're like under the mouth of the platform on the inside of the stage, then like Puff isn't really super scared because she can just jump forever. But it does give you the ability to set up a lot of back airs through using your dash back. Because like if Puff is up here, like if Puff is like in the corner and then she goes up here and you're in this position, then you can set up a back air angle. But you don't get like, it's not like you can like directly corner pressure Puff really, unless you're shroomed and you're just fucking insane. But generally, yeah, generally Sheik plays pretty passive against Puff, just because she's so slippery. Awesome, sweet. Okay, yeah. So I guess my analysis style is a little bit hampered because I'm trying out a new way to stream the match. Because like usually I do YouTube videos, but for Slippy I have to do like game capture mode on OBS instead of doing window capture like I usually do, or like instead of doing display capture, because display capture makes Slippy really laggy. But anyways, so yeah, you want to be. Generally, Sheik wants to be like taking the corner, like pushing Puff to the corner because like having center stage is really good as Sheik, but you don't get like a ton of benefit off of it. I'm fine with this up air. I mean, with this up tilt, because if you look at it, it's really close to hitting, and Puff is able to get like a nair off of it, which is fine. But if you look at a situation again after she nairs you, I think this brings up another really important thing for the Sheik matchup, or for the Puff matchup, which is that it's really important to be quick in and out of your shield in this matchup, especially when you're right next to Puff, because she does get a lot off the grab, and because she's also pretty slow, especially when she's on the ground. Like if Puff is on the ground like this, then you have a pretty free license to just wave dash out of shield without being afraid of her punishing you. Especially if she's facing towards you like she is here. Because if she is facing away from you, then she does get to up tilt you, which will start comboing into rest pretty soon. But if she's so then you have to be a little more scared of wave dashing out or rolling out. But if she's facing towards you right here, then you have a pretty free license. Because grab is slow, and it's also not going to lead to a ton here. So you're pretty free to just get out of here. You get up tilted. Up tilt's not going to lead to anything. That's fine. Okay. Let's look at this again. Yeah, you gotta hit that tech. That tech is really scary. Because if you look at, his missing that tech gives Puff the chance to set up a tech chase on you, and this could have really easily been tech chase rest if this Puff was, I'm not like higher quality, but if this Puff was had their platform tech chases down, then you could have easily gotten rested here. But nice tech there. And then this sequence here kind of brings up what you want to be doing against Sheik, or against Puff as really any character. Like you just want to put her in spacing where she's she's in the air at back air range from you, and Sheik especially. Really wants to find a specific spacing against Puff. She wants to find a spacing where she's diagonal to Puff. There's a slight static from my stream. Okay, I'm not sure where's that. Oh, that's my TV. That's my CRT. I think that should have fixed it because I just turned my CRT off. So let me know if that fixes it. But this needle grab you get right here is kind of like exactly what you want to be doing in the matchup. It looks like Puff may have been able to crouch here. Because if you look at this situation, it looks like Puff was able to crouch. I'm pretty sure. Because if you look at the height you hit the needle from, like you hit it from so high up. Actually, this is a fine needle. Yeah, this is fine. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I'll figure out the static later. I'm not too concerned with it. It'll also probably go away if I ever get a good mic. But yeah, this needle is this type of needle is exactly what you want to be going for against Puff. You just want to be able to try and confirm into a grab, which you do here. And it looks like it's kind of ambiguous as to whether she was able to crouch or not. So I'm not going to make a ton of comment about that. Good on you for recognizing. I don't think the fair was going to hit there, so good on you for recognizing it. And this spacing right here, I'll try and find a better frame, but this spacing brings up something that's also really big in the matchup right here. So if you look at this spacing, you'll see that if Puff drifts forward a little bit more, she's actually in range of back air. She's in range of full hop back air, which is really big in this matchup. Because a big thing about the Puff Sheik matchup is that it's as much about vertical spacing as it is horizontal spacing. Because you can kind of imagine Puff as like Falco, because when she's facing away from you, she just controls the whole horizontal plane of the stage for pretty much for free. Kind of like Falco controls the whole horizontal plane of the stage with lasers. But this means that if you're able to set up these kinds of positions where you're in back air range of Puff, then you have a really strong advantage. And the same goes for setting up positions where you're where like this situation is flipped, where you're diagonal above Puff instead of diagonal below. But when you think about it, if she's in the air, she doesn't really have a ton of good options for contesting this space diagonal below her in the front, because her back air, because her only real option is down air, but that's pretty slow. And it also would just trade. It would just trade with back air, and you would just be out of leg immediately, and Puff would still be in leg, because a single hit of down air does does no leg on you. So you want to be hunting for these angles right here, and if you can avoid being in this horizontal angle with Puff, then it's generally pretty good. You want to be setting up this kind of stuff. And you'll sometimes see that Sheiks get a little bit aggressive in the horizontal space. If you watch Shroomit play, then you'll see that he still loves doing short hop forward fair. But in that case, it's all about taking advantage of Puff's slow moves. Because if Puff is on the ground, then she doesn't really have many strong options. I'm struggling with that myself, but it's really. I feel like the easy one to set up is the platform needle angles, right? Because if you're just on the platform, you can pretty easily get platform needle angles in this matchup. But what you can do, there are a lot of different things you can do. If you think about how playing against floaties in general, one thing you can do with your platform movement is go on the platform to bait them to come up into the air, and then drop back down. Drop back down to catch them while they're in the air. But a big part of it is also just playing patient. Really just playing really patiently, and controlling center, but just kind of waiting until you can get this kind of opportunity where Puff is at an upwards angle to you. But that's definitely, I know Swedish Delight is really good about that, because his brother is actually a Puff main. So his videos are really good for learning how to play against Puff, and I'd highly recommend watching Swedish Delight and analyzing when he actually engages Puff and what angles he engages Puff at, and you'll find that a lot of the time he kind of waits and is conservative with his engagements until he sees that Puff is at an angle like this, where she's in full hop back air or even full hop forward air range. Yeah, this is fine. You're playing pretty passive here, but you're still finding opportunities. Stuff like this short hop doesn't make a ton of sense though, because again, Puff is nowhere near in short hop fair range right here. Because if you look at where you're jumping and where she's jumping, you're really not getting anything from this short hop forward air. Whereas if you were dashing up forward a little bit more, you could set up that same kind of. You could set up the same kind of full hop bear or full hop fair spacing. And another thing that can get Puff to jump in the air in this matchup is, of course, needles. If we go back to the very first interaction of the match, one of the very first big interactions where he threw those needles, Um, was it here? I don't think it was here. So if okay, this is a good example. This is a really good example. So you charge needles. Puff sees you charging needles and then double jumps up to the center of the stage. So by charging these needles, you've actually forced Puff into that position that we were just talking about, that diagonal position. So if you had just needle charge canceled here instead of throwing them, then you would have had a good situation for you, because where you could just where it's if you cancel needles right here, you can just dash up to right here, right in the outside of the middle stage, and just try and shark for a forward air or for a back air. So needles are definitely one way of creating that opportunity. Okay, so we get the back air, get the grab, get the forward air. You had the angle. Okay. So I think you're doing pretty all right. I don't know. I haven't really seen any top sheiks do that. I've seen Pull-Up do run up tilt against Spacies. And I've seen Santiago do waveland forward up tilt also against Spacies. It might be something worth trying out in friendlies. But I think that the big reason why backer is so good in this matchup is that because it controls space for so long, that it's easy to have to do a backer that Puff will just run into. Okay, this nair is really dangerous. Both of these nairs. This that nair is more or less fine, because you're nairing the back of Puff shield. But then this nair is much worse because even so, if Puff shields this, she can just grab you, and if she crouch cancels this like so, then she could do something much scarier than just jab you. She could just grab you and back throw you off stage. But instead, this Puff lets you get out of jail free. Just lets you get out of jail free and then jabbed you. And also, I would also be careful about F-tilting in this spot, especially if you're nair landing on Puff shield, because something that Puff can do that's really nasty is if you hit them on shield and then throw an F-tilt, they can actually wave dash forward or wave dash in place to go under the F-tilt and then rest you. And they can also, I'm pretty sure, just rest out of shield your F-tilt as well if it hits their shield. Which not every Puff will be able to do, but it's definitely something that's worth thinking about. And when you're thinking about how to apply pressure to Puff shield, so be careful with this kind of nair, because if she shields it, she can grab you, and if she crouches it like she does, she could back throw you, or just do something better than just jab. You had the right idea here. This is kind of another example of that angle I was talking about, where if you're I like to do just repeated short hop fairs, just short hop fairs or short hop bears, and then you can mix them in with short hop needles. But Puff is really good at punishing, because that is Sheik's tilts and stuff in general are pretty bad on shield, are pretty bad on shields in general. But Puff especially is really good at Puff is really good at handling them, because she can just rest you. But you could also try up tilt maybe. Yeah, you could try up tilt, although up tilt's actually fraudulent shield pressure, because your opponent can grab in between the two hits. So it's not the greatest, but yeah, just like aerials are safe. That'd be another good thing to watch out for. You could just so what? That's actually a really important thing with I'm opening up a notepad file right now to write down the notes. Um, but so if Puff is rolling away, then a big thing is setting up pressure to hit after the roll. So if she rolls away, you don't have time to truly punish. Like positioning yourself so that you can react to her doing something punishable after she rolls, or stuff like if like run forward, like dash forward and short hop aerial, like short hop above where she's gonna end up, and then just react to her option. So like if she's crouching, you could like needle her. If she's still shielding, you could forward air her or back air her or whatever. If she dashes back, you could just hold space. If she you can just shield if you think she's gonna back air. But that's kind of a big thing in melee in general. Like if you don't have time to truly punish, the best thing you can do is just set up an advantage state for yourself. Because if someone's rolling away and you don't have time to truly punish them, you still have framed advantage because you still have the ability to act before they're able to act. So you can set up mix-ups, like short hop needle or short hop fair, or like short hop waveland back, and then whip punish them for grabbing or for like back airing. But really, you just want to try do something that maintains your advantage, but doesn't give it up if it doesn't work out. So that's why short hop aerials are so good in that spot. Because even if Puff shields, you still get kind of a bit of advantage just off of having hitting a low aerial on her shield and stuff like that. What you don't want to do, of course, is do all or nothing plays, boost grab or dash attack, because that's how you let your opponent reverse the situation on you. But yeah, that's another good thing to watch pro players. Good thing to analyze when you're watching pro players is to analyze what they do in those kind of situations where they still have the advantage over their opponent, but they don't have enough to actually get a true punish on them. And that's kind of just fighting games in general. That's a big fundamental fighting game concept. But so here you saw that you had. So what happened is that you saw you had the back air angle. Because if you look at this right here, you almost have the back air angle. You just need to dash forward a little bit further in order to get it. His Puff is falling like that, she's gonna be more or less right there. So if you dash forward to center stage, then you can set up a back air, a full hop back air on Puff. And then another thing you can also do when Puff is in the air like this is you can just go to center stage and just charge needles. Because needles are going to be so useful to you for so many situations against Puff. And she's also pretty slow, so she struggles to really contest you charging needles really well. It's kind of the same theory as charging needles against Peach, where they're so useful in neutral, and Peach is so slow that you can charge them in a lot of different spots. So you're trying to go for the back air, but you don't actually get there in time. And if you look at what happens here, Puff actually does something that would have been beaten by you just dashing forward to center stage and doing a full hop back air. Because Puff expects you to just automatically throw out an insta back air right here. Puff decides, I'm going to throw out an instant air right here, in this spot to cover, because she sees you jumping up at her, or she sees you positioned in the corner, and does this neutral air to keep you in the corner. Whereas if you had dashed forward to center stage, you would have totally been able to handle this neutral air with the full hop back air. Okay, it looks like you need to work on your platform movement a little bit more, because stuff like this shouldn't really be happening. Because Puff can punish you so hard for stuff like that. Nice tech, or nice lack of tech rather. So this is kind of you going. I think this is you going for the right idea, but it's just not working out because the spacing of the situation was such that you just barely missed out on your forwarder opportunity. But again, this short hop in the corner here isn't really doing anything. Like this short hop in the corner isn't doing anything at all. And I think that's something I've been seeing a decent amount. So I'll write that down. Try and limit needless movement, specifically with short hops that don't actually threaten Puff. So I want you to try and pay attention to like try and limit needless short hops, like this one, because if you look at the spacing, Puff is not in range. Like neither you aren't in range. Like you aren't in range of Puff, and Puff isn't in range of you. So this short hop isn't really going to accomplish anything unless you're doing it to waveland onto the platform. Like unless you're reacting right here, and then waveland to the platform when you see that Puff isn't that you're not in danger. Because what you do, because basically, like by doing this short hop, you limit your ability to take advantage of this angle right here, because you see Puff at this nice little full hop forward air angle, but because you land it, like because you're still in lag, you aren't actually to punish it. So you see the angle and you try and take it, but you're just too late because the short hop just made you too late. Grab that. This is something I noticed right away when I was watching your matches, or when I was watching this match a few days ago. I noticed that it really back like you're kind of like you're missing some opportunities with with throws in this game. Like right here, you're back throwing Puff. And you're trying to edge guard her, but I think down throw to fair or nair would have been better here, just for getting damage, and even maybe killing Puff. Oh, that might be a bit later. Okay, I got you. And then here's another example of that spacing coming up again. You could say that. You could say they were throwing. But so this similar spacing, the diagonal spacing I was talking about, comes up again. So let's go through it frame by frame. But again, what happened is that by doing this short hop, even though you were doing this short hop to kind of police Puff coming in closer to the ground from off stage, by doing this short hop, you actually took away your ability to go for this back air, because by the time you land and go for the back air, Puff is actually out of the angle, because Puff is directly above, or like kind of more above you, so she keeps on drifting forward, and she's in no danger of getting back aired right here. Whereas if you'd done it earlier, then you probably you would have had a chance at actually hitting her. But because you put yourself, you took away your ability to do this back air. You took away your ability to do this back air by doing the short hop. That didn't really do anything. And Puff at center stage. You're kind of starting to throw out moves a bit. Like if you look at this particular up air that you do right here, it actually pretty much like indirectly led to you getting hit by Puff, because Puff just isn't going to be hit by this, and what it did was put you on the top platform, and then it forced you to come down on top of Puff, which is really not a good place to be for Sheik at all. And then you also mess up your platform movement a little bit. So you work on platform movement. I'm writing down right now on a notepad. Work on platform movement. You put your danger. You put yourself in danger a few times because of accidentally needling. Because of actually landing on the top plat with needles or air dodging into a puff. Okay. Let's look at this air dodge though. I assume this was a waveland attempt. You're trying to like waveland fair here. But the puff was actually ready for that with that back air. Because if you look at what happens here, you land on the platform, Puff sees this, and then she actually does a back air that looks like actually is pretty cool. It probably would trade with a runoff fair, but in the end, you get forward aired. And Puff again could have had this opportunity, like could have ran away with this opportunity. Oh God, Slippy, please. Because if you look at what happens after this up air, from here all the way up until here. All the way up until here for about 10 or 15 seconds. Puff had the advantage in neutral, all because you overextended with that up air. Because of this up air you did, Puff was able to set up a really favorable situation on you first by making you come down on top of her, and then by putting you in knockdown state, then throwing you to the edge of the stage, and then just converting that stage control into hits, and then she just threw it away with his forward smash. So the next note is going to be careful about extending with stuff like full hop up air. So be careful about overextending with stuff like full hop up air when you think. So the next note is be careful of overextending with stuff like full hop up air when you think that Puff is vulnerable. Because another big thing with the Puff matchup is that it's a matchup of patience, and it's a matchup of waiting for the perfect opportunity to hit Puff, instead of just throwing moves out. I'm also going to make another note and say at the very start of the match, please. While Puff is in the air, try to maximize Okay, moving on. Okay, that's fine. Actually, I think if you had pummeled again, you may have been able to up air kill her in this situation. I'm not entirely sure, though. I haven't labbed out the percents. Okay, again, you have needles, and you kind of just waste them, because you think Puff is going to land. Like here, Puff actually is able to react to you throwing the needles, and just crouch under them, which a lot of characters can do. So I'm going to add that one to the notes. So add 110. At 110, you throw away your needles, and also at the very start of the match. You're kind of overextending with upper here again, and this is a really, really important part of the matchup, because because Puff is in the air here. So if Puff and you are both under the side plats, in what situation? Like in neutral? In neutral, okay. Opposite side plats. Okay, so let's go back to that example. Okay, I think this is a good one right here. Good still to talk about it. So say right here. So right here. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can switch to a computer view. Oh, I can. Okay, I got it. Oh no, I just killed my dog. Okay, hold on. I gotta relaunch the replay. I accidentally hit escape. I was meaning to just turn it into a windowed mode. Apologies. Okay. I gotta go back into my volume mixer, and I gotta turn down Slippy. And I gotta open up snipping tool. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get my snipping tool on screen. Window capture. Okay, here we go. So, okay, beautiful. Okay, so big thing to understand, like to kind of think about, is that Puff controls right about that range, kind of like right in there, because this range is the range that Puff covers with back air. So if she short hops at you and back airs, she can reach like right about here under the platform. So something you could do here is just dash forward into shield stop, like right here. Because if you go right here, the red X, then you're positioned outside of Puff's aerial range, and you still have some space to wave dash back with. Or you could potentially wave land up right here, or even full hop forward right there. Because if you full hop or wave land up here, then you have a needle angle right there. So you can kind of contest Puff sitting in center stage in that way. So you can like wave land up to the platform and go into shield, and then either full hop like short hop needle, or wait shield drop down, or even wave dash back, or even wave dash forward. You could dash forward in the shield stop or crouch. Probably shield stop because you're at a crouch cancel %. And just try and shield a Puff back air or forward air and punish it out of shield. Because a big thing with out of shield options in this matchup against Puff is that you have actually some decent out of shield options, but they have to unlock first. So by that I mean you have access to shield stop, shield back air, wave dash forward F tilt, and wave dash forward jab. But they don't open up until like puff is around this percent. Like F tilt opens up a bit earlier, but jab, like wave dash forward jab, if puff back air is your shield, opens up at this percent because you can do jab to fair and just kill her. And then the third option, I think, that is worth considering is to actually just charge needles. Like maybe wave dash forward to like bout at the X, maybe a bit shallower, and then just charge needles. Because if puff is all the way over here, and you like in center stage and you're in the corner, then you can pretty much charge needles for free, and you can also just react to puff jumping at you and shield or wave dash forward or wave dash back. So does that kind of answer your question? I think just standing here and throwing needles, standing, isn't really that great of an option, because if you think about it, Puff's options in this situation so often involve her jumping. Like, it's not like she's like Marth, where she's just going to dash forward at you on the ground. She's going to be in the air most of the time. So standing needles aren't really going to do anything. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the way to think about it. Because like a big thing about this, if you look at the top X, right, the X on the platform, then it's actually outside of the range of back air, and she also has to full hop. So if Puff full hops and back airs, then she actually opens herself up to you running under her with like a forward tilt or with a jab or with an up tilt. Yeah, needles a side plat, reactive bear with shield, and like. Another good way to think about bear on shield is that it's because like it's not actually that great as shield pressure. You're pretty free to act out of it, like to act out of shield after being bared, because in order for Puff to make her bear safe, she has to like do full space backer, which gives you space to do out of shield options. Also, okay, I'll see if that situation comes up. Actually, okay, this is a good one. So I'm gonna pause it right here, and you're shielding. So if Puff, so let's say Puff is right here, and she's pressuring your back air, and she's pressuring you when you're on the platform with back air. So if we think about it, shielding the back air is pretty much just neutral. Shielding the back air and fairing is kind of just neutral, because if she back air is again, if she comes in after the first back air, you're just gonna be able to shield trap fair her. You don't have to fair. You could like shield drop down. You could like shield drop down right there and then go that way with a waveland. If you think she's going to back her your shield again, you can also waveland and go that way and get under her. You can also, instead of shielding, one thing you could do would be dash dance on the platform. It's like dash dance on the platform and just like kind of like feel out what she's going to do. And then you can, the risky play is also to go to needles. Actually, although also you could like do stuff like wave dash back that way, like to right there, and then just charge needles. I think that would be a pretty decent option. But it's really dangerous to like directly contest the second backer here, especially if Puff is already in the air. But that's also, there are like so many situations like this where like I can't really give a definitive answer. The best answer is to just Because like all these things are things that could be good, but I think the real answer to your question will be found if you analyze, like again, like Swedish Delight, and just look at what he does when he's shielding on the platform and Puff is in center stage pressuring with backer. Because that's where you'll get your real answers. Yeah. So I hope that helped. I think, yeah. So like fair, I think shoulder drop fair is like fine though because it's just a really safe option, and it gets you to the ground, so that's solid. So there's definitely nothing wrong with it, I don't think. I assume you're trying to wave dash back right here. Although again, you didn't really have any reason to fear Puff right here. Because if you look at where you landed. Oh, I got you. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's really sloppy. Okay. Good catch. Good catch. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna make another diagram here, and just look at this situation right here, because you shielded right here. And then I'll bring up snipping tool. So right here, again, let's talk about effective ranges. You shielded in this spot, but really, again, Puff back air covers like that much space. Like Puff back air covers like this much space. So like you didn't really have to shield. And also, if you look at the situation right here, if you think that Puff is going to like double jump again and back air, then you can just set up that back air forward air angle that I was talking about. But the big reason I want to talk about this is because you did this wave dash, the shield into wave dash back, or I assume attempted wave dash back, which then puts you in an even worse spot because you're putting yourself all the way in the corner, and Puff's fair range, like back air range, only covers like right here in this space. So by doing this attempted wave dash, I assume, you weren't really putting yourself in any better position. If anything, by retreating into the corner here, you're actually putting yourself in a worse position. Just trying, like, so I guess another thing is that I think I agree with advanced placement in that you're playing a little bit passive in this match. Like, it feels like you kind of have two modes, where you're either passive and giving up space, like you do here with this attempted wave dash back, when you're outside of range of Puff's back air, or you're being really aggressive and going in on Puff, like you were doing with that full hop up air I talked about earlier, or with like the misspaced full hop forward airs and full hop back airs. So that's a hard issue. Like, that's a hard problem to fix, because it requires just a lot of experimentation, and especially in the Puff matchup, you got to be able to like play very like you have to be able to play patiently, but also not give up any space you don't have to give up. So not exactly like passively. And also it's important to like be controlling Puff with stuff like needle charges and like platform needles. So you throw needles again, and then you kind of, this is another good example of what I'm talking about when I say you have two modes, because you throw your needles, you see that they didn't hit, and then you just run forward directly into Puff's range, and you get backward for it, because So if we look at the situation again, thinking about back air spacing, so if we think about back air spacing again, Puff's back air range extends probably right about there. So you had all of this space. Green is all good. Green is all out of back air range. But what you did is you crossed from the green zone, and you crossed from the green zone, and you entered the Puff back air range. And Puff sees you dashing in from right here, and she thinks that you're going to enter that back air range, so she just automatically throws one out. So what you could do instead would be to like go up here. This is also another good safe spot to be in. Or you could just advance like right up here to another safe spot to be in. Because then, like if we see how this plays out, so if we see how this plays out, there we go. If we see how this plays out, you dash forward, Puff is seeing you dash forward into her space, and she reacts, and just throws out a back air. Just like autopilot throws out a back air. Whereas if you had like dash forward, and then like crouch, or a shield, like right here, wave dash back, then you would have baited out the back air, and you would have had a favorable situation for yourself. Or even just if you had full hop needle charged to the platform, you still would have had a really favorable position for yourself, because then Puff struggles to contest this space. Okay, I like this. I like what you were doing up until this grab. Because again, I think this is another situation where when you're thinking about the grab, you're thinking like right here, like okay, this is a grab time, but you haven't actually landed from your jump yet. So you're like reacting to this situation, right? When actually the situation that happens when you land is this. So Puff was vulnerable while you were in the air, but as soon as after you landed, the situation was totally different. And you lost out on the opportunity you saw during the jump. And then you just run up and grab. Actually, while I am thinking about it, I'll add on another note. I can actually add in. Oh god, hold on, I messed something up. Okay, I see. Hold on. Hold your horses. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna add my notepad window to my stream deck. Okay, so what I got here is I got the notepad I'm working on. So the first bullet point is try and limit needless movement, specifically with short hops that don't actually threaten Puff or handle Puff coming in. And And then the second bullet point is work on platform movement. You put yourself in danger a few times because of accidentally landing on the top flat with needles or air dodging into puff fair. Be careful with overextending with stuff like full hop up air when you think that puff is actually vulnerable. If he actually isn't. And then at the very start of the match, and at 110, you waste a needle stack by throwing it away while sending when puffs in the air. Try to maximize your needle stacks. So then we have two things to analyze. To watch top players for how they handle puff in their shield. So how to handle puff bearing shield when they're on a platform, and how to approach, and what to do when you and puff are both standing under platforms at neutral. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, so this grab is just kind of ill-advised, because again, you see that you're going to land from the short hop, and you think you can forward air or you can grab. So you get grabbed. Puff just reads that you're gonna shield drop there here. She just hard reads it. Because like she's inputting her pound as she's falling. So if you had shield drop ferret and just landed with shield there, you would have actually had a really good punish opportunity. But instead you shield drop ferret and just ran into puff. This is like another kind of example of not really respecting puff's range. Because when she's in the air like this, she can cover you dashing in with falling fair or pound. So by doing this dash forward without shielding, you're just exposing yourself needlessly to puff doing a pound or a forward air. I'm not a fan of this double jump you do, because it just puts you above puff for no real reason, unless you're set up this situation where she is able to pressure your landing. Is she gonna arrest you? No, she's gonna backer you. That's kind of a mix-up situation there. That was a mix-up with the tech. But again, you're kind of just throwing out moves, like you land from the platform with back air, and then you land, then you come down again with back air, even when puff isn't in range of back air. So it would have been better just to come down with empty movement or like a wave land or a needle charge, instead of just throwing out the bears here. So that's going to be my next recommendation, is to try to find a mix between playing passively and letting puff dictate match. So and being okay, so try and be patient. That's a big thing. So try and find a balance between playing passively and playing passively and letting puff dictate the match, and being over aggressive and just throwing out moves. I'll turn on my light. So yeah. Okay, moving on. It also looks like you could stand to work on your dashes out of aerials. Because you were just standing still right there, and if you had dash backed, you would have been able to escape that up air. Like right here. If you had been dashing back or even forward right there, you would have been able to avoid the puff snare. So I'm going to add that to the notes. Work on dashing out of aerials as soon as possible. You get hit 5 puff at 127 for just staying still after landing. Okay, I'm going to analyze a little bit more because it's already been an hour. And I think we've talked about a lot of good stuff. And I think the Notepad document is definitely meaty. A lot of good stuff to think about in the Notepad document. So I'll just go until you take puff stock. That's a tricky tech. That's a really tricky tech. Okay. Puff has been aerialed. Okay, you got off the legend time, and that was beautiful. That is exactly what you want to be doing. Like, because if you think about how often Puff has to be in the air to avoid like how Puff plays, she's just in the air so much that eventually a situation's going to come along like this, where she just positions herself right inside your back air range, and you can just take advantage of it. So yeah, you take puff stock, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and that's gonna be it for my analysis because I also got to play some Melee myself today. But yeah, I hope that helps. I'll paste the notes into the match critique channel. Okay, awesome. That's really good to hear. Yeah, this is this is why I have the nerd roll in the Discord, because this is all I fucking do. I just analyze. But yeah, I'm glad it helped. I'm gonna stop recording.